So it's 2026, and you're staring down the barrel of a PC upgrade. You've got your eye on two absolute legends from NVIDIA's lineup, the RTX 3070 and the RTX 3080. It's a really tough choice, I get it. But don't you worry, because today we're going to break it all down and figure out which one of these cards is the perfect fit for you and your rig. And this is where so many of us get stuck, right? Whether you're looking at the used market or grabbing some new old stock, you're facing that classic dilemma. Do you go for the super efficient, well-balanced card, or do you dig a little deeper in your pocket for a pretty serious jump in raw power? Let's get into it. All right, so in one corner, we have the RTX 3070. This thing has earned a serious reputation for being the efficiency king. It gives you awesome performance without demanding a monster power supply. And in the other corner, the RTX 3080, a beast of a card that is without a doubt the 1440p performance champ. It's built to just crush games at that resolution. Okay, enough talk. Let's get to the good stuff, what really matters most to all of us, the frames. We're going to jump right into the hard numbers and see exactly how these two cards perform when the rubber meets the road in actual games. Let's not bury the lead here. This is the number that tells most of the story. At 1440p, the RTX 3080 is, on average, a whopping 30 to 45% faster than the 3070. And to be clear, that's not just a tiny step up. That is a massive, noticeable leap in performance. So what does a 30 to 45% difference actually feel like when you're in the game? Well, let's take a demanding title, a real beast like Cyberpunk 2077. With ray tracing cranked up high, the 3070 gives you a totally playable, solid 60 FPS. But the 3080, it's pushing a much, much smoother 85 FPS. That's a difference you can absolutely see and feel. And hey, it's not just a one-hit wonder in Cyberpunk either. As you can see right here, the 3080 consistently pulls way ahead in a ton of other popular games. So whether you're trying to get every last frame in competitive shooters like Warzone and Apex, or you just want to soak in the gorgeous scenery in Red Dead Redemption 2, that 3080 is going to give you a serious leg up. So what's the big takeaway from all these charts and numbers? Well, it all boils down to one word: headroom. The RTX 3080 gives you that extra power, that breathing room, to just max out your settings, flip on all the fancy ray tracing effects, and still have a buttery smooth experience. It's the difference between asking, "Can my PC run this?" and asking, "How absolutely amazing can I make this look?" But hold on, frames per second isn't the whole story. Not by a long shot. There are a few other really crucial specs you need to think about, especially if you want your new graphics card to last you for the next few years. You know, one of the single biggest differences between these two cards, and something that's getting more important by the day, is the VRAM. The 3070 comes with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, which is solid, but the 3080 steps that up to 10 gigabytes of the much faster GDDR6X memory. Now, you might be thinking, okay, 2 extra gigs of VRAM, is that really such a big deal? And let me tell you, as we push further and further into 2026 with games getting crazier and more demanding, the answer to that is a definitive yes. See, that 8 gigabyte buffer on the 3070 is already starting to be a bottleneck in some brand new titles. It can force you to turn down your texture quality, and it can even cause some nasty stuttering, especially if you dare to venture into 4K. Simply put, that extra VRAM on the 3080 just helps it age so much more gracefully. Okay, now before you run out and grab a 3080, there are a couple of practical, real-world things you gotta think about. All that extra performance comes at a cost. And I'm not just talking about money. The 3080 is a pretty thirsty card, which means you'll need a beefier power supply to feed it. And it's also physically a big card, so you have to double-check that you've got enough room in your case. All right. We've waded through the data, we've looked at the specs, now it's decision time. And to make this as simple as possible, we've broken it down based on the type of gamer you are. Let's figure out which card has your name on it. Okay, find yourself here. If you're a 1440p gamer who's all about getting the best value, the most bang for your buck, the RTX 3070 is a phenomenal choice. Same thing if you're building a smaller, quieter, more power-efficient rig. But if you're a 1440p gamer who wants to crank everything to ultra and hit those high refresh rates, or if you're looking for a really solid entry point into 4K gaming, then the RTX 3080 is, without a doubt, the way to go. So, when you boil it all down, what's the bottom line here? It really all comes down to what you're looking for right now. Are you looking for the best possible deal today, or are you willing to spend a little more on a card that's going to keep you gaming happily for years to come? And there it is, the core trade-off in a nutshell. The RTX 3070 is an incredible value. It probably gives you better FPS per dollar spent. But the RTX 3080 is simply a better long-term investment. It's the card that has the power and the features to let you keep turning up those settings for a long, long time. Now, this has just been a quick overview to get you pointed in the right direction. If you really want to dive deeper, you can check out the full guide with live pricing, more benchmarks, the whole shebang, over at the source for this explainer, bestgpusforgaming.com. So as you sit here planning your next big upgrade, just ask yourself this one simple question. Are you playing for today or are you building for tomorrow? The answer will tell you everything you need to know. Thanks for tuning in and happy gaming.